South Africa, a country known for
Here it is, South Africa, champions of the world.
I am human because you are human.
Nation building.
Medical history has been made in South Africa.
World's first heart transplant.
Led by Professor Christian Barnett.
Despite all our potential, South Africa is also the most unequal society in the world.
the country living at the forefront of the production and climatic challenges facing traditional food production systems. This is especially a concern given the fact that more than 70% of our rural population depend on agriculture for their livelihood. Almost 14 million of our people live on less than $1.22 per day, and 46% of our citizens receive social grants, putting a significant burden on a shrinking tax base. Our unemployment rate of over 34% is one of the highest in the world, and devastating when you consider this figure is at almost 75% for our youth. By striving to achieve zero hunger, we will have a positive ripple effect on key development issues, as nutritional intake directly affects the quality of health and neurodevelopment of children, thereby affecting their learning potential. It also places a huge strain on gender equality, as women and children tend to be disproportionately impacted by food shortages. Today, we are going to share our story. A story of how a drop of sweat became a ripple of impact that touched the lives of ordinary South Africans in an extraordinary way.
2 years ago, we first visited Gladstone village in central South Africa and sought to understand the social circumstances its people are faced with. We talked to them, listened to their challenges and aspirations. From this, we learned that the community struggled with high unemployment, lack of basic farming, cooperative management and entrepreneurial skills, lack of youth and women participation in agriculture, and lack of environmental conservation knowledge that led to poor soil conditions.
However, they had community assets that could be leveraged. These included 300 hectares of unused land, human labor, water infrastructure such as a borehole, a JoJo tank, and a windmill that required maintenance.
These insights were used to develop a business model for Village 4. The model consisted of 2 pillars, crop farming and worm farming.
The crop farming component empowers communities to use their livelihood assets such as land and water to stimulate employment, reduce inequality, and encourage youth and women's participation in agriculture.
In Gladstone Village, we identified 14 community members that consisted of elderly men, youth, and 1 woman. In conversations with the beneficiaries, we learned that they had previously cultivated crops but only generated revenue of 350 rands.
Our first task in this program year was to assist the beneficiaries to formally register Green, Gold and Grey Cooperative. To upskill the beneficiaries on agricultural practices, we secured an international partnership with Patriot Vision in Action, also known as PAVA, an organization from Lesotho. PAVA aims to assist communities to acquire skills and resources to uplift their standard of living and ultimately ensure food security. They provide our beneficiaries with training on crop and commercial farming, corporate governance, and business management skills.
Post the training, our team invested an amount of 25,000 rand in the crop farming component of the project by sourcing a tractor to plow the land, fertilizers, pesticides, and 20 bags of potato seedlings for implementation phase. This outlay was made possible by the sponsorship from Ford Motor Company and Harmony Gold Mine.
With their newfound knowledge and the farming inputs by our team, our beneficiaries cultivated 2 hectares of land for potato farming in December 2021. The planting cycle is 4 months. During this period, we approached interstate bus lines to support our enterprising efforts at Village 4.
Interstate sponsored packaging material for the sale of the first 300 bags of potatoes and a scale to the value of 4,700 rands. Due to their new farming skills, Green, Gold and Grey Cooperative harvested 1,977 kgs of potatoes. We then facilitated access to markets through local community members and fast food outlets in 2 towns. This led to the revenue of almost 10,000 rands. a 2,700% increase from their previous efforts.
An amount of 1,100 was reinvested back into the cooperative by purchasing additional potato bags to professionalize the product offering. Green Gold and Grey now has a long-term strategy and applies crop rotation, which will ensure a steady income. We're excited to see our beneficiaries diligently apply the principles and the contents of the training provided.
The project is actually bringing change in the community. I saw it last time when we were harvesting. We invited some people to come and help us, and in return we gave them bags. I can regard that as one of the strategies of fighting poverty in our community. What I can tell Enactus, all I can say is thank you.
Despite the traction gained in the initial planting cycle, poor soil conditions remained a challenge. We saw an opportunity to vertically integrate by producing our own organic soil treatment compost. This led to the establishment of the second pillar of the project, worm farming.
Worm farming of vermiculture is the breeding of earthworms. These worms produce organic compost that is used to rehabilitate poor soil quality.
Why vermicomposting, you may ask? While fertilizers offer a quick boost to plants, it leaves the soil chemically dependent. In contrast, vermicompost adds living microorganisms to the ground, breaking down organic matter and making it nutritionally available to plants, resulting in an increase of up to 26% in commercial yield.
To kickstart the worm farming pillar, we partnered with Agribusiness Corner, who equipped 7 of our members with worm farming knowledge and skills.
Following the training with Agribusiness Corner, we ordered the starter pack, which consisted of 2.5 kgs of worms, feed, tools, and equipment to start breeding. This resulted in a capital investment of 36,000 Rand.
Under ideal conditions, worms double their population within 60 to 90 days. In the process of breeding the worms, we learned many lessons, such as worms being sensitive to weather patterns, they take time to acclimatize, and worm beds attract opposing threats such as ants. To mitigate these challenges, we researched and trialed different methods of containing the ants without harming our worms. We landed on coffee residue and cinnamon as an addition to the feed for the worms, which repels ants. In a bid to secure a reliable supply of coffee residue, we sought a partnership with Starbucks. The worms responded positively to our intervention, and currently we have a worm population of 12.5 kgs, a 400% increase within just 4 months.
In partnership with the Community Engagement Unit at Central University of Technology, we also hosted worm farming expos in 2 cities, namely Bloemfontein and Welkom, to create awareness about worm breeding and business opportunities in the market. 180 people were reached through the expos, and 245 showed interest in becoming worm breeders. To date, 2 clients bought worms, generating a revenue of 600 Rands.
The success of our worm bed led us to a strategic decision to set up the first worm farming training center in Central South Africa. To build capacity, the team trained 15 Enactus members. Our center has since trained 7 new worm breeders on vermiculture.
It's been an interest to me because I like mini gardening, like the knowledge was very insightful so that I'll be able to apply it to my own.
These 7 breeders were then set up with starter packs, enabling them to start their own worm farming ventures. This resulted in a revenue of 4,800 Rands.
Vermicomposting will mitigate the poor soil conditions in Gladstone and other areas where we will transpose the enterprising solution to. With our new partner, the Central University of Technology's Department of Agriculture, we are currently running tests on the quality of our compost. We view the compost as an opportunity to diversify our revenue through the sale of organic compost to local farmers.
Village Far was recognized as one of the top 12 agricultural solutions within the Enactus Global Network.
Sunday World, South Africa's second largest newspaper, and our institution's media department have covered our story, which have a reach of 40,200 people. The exposure led to different stakeholders in our city inviting us to partake in agricultural seminars and launch different iterations of our agricultural innovations in their spaces. One such example is HTS Louis Botha, a local high school that has approached us to develop a solution to their food insecurity challenges for their boarding scholars.
Building on our achievement, our team is working on numerous agricultural innovations to make farming more accessible in South African low-income communities. where access to irrigation water and space are but only a few of the challenges these communities face. These innovations have already led to the employment of one community member as a technician. We have already sold 6 grow beds with more people expressing interest. Our revenue is 2,430 rands.
What started as a drop of passion has created a purpose-led social enterprise, driving change in rural South Africa. The ripples of this enterprise have positively impacted 44 direct beneficiaries with new skills and knowledge.
It led to rural farmers seeing an increase in yields, generating 9,882 for the cooperative. No less than 7 worm breeders being introduced to a new industry that has opened up new economic possibilities for them and their families. We generated over 17,712 rands in revenue and created 1 job.
We would not have been able to achieve all of this without our partners and sponsors. Through collaboration, Sustainable Development Goal number 17 was addressed.
This is what matters, the impact of our project. Because for us, an idea only deserves to exist if it does make a difference. Integrity, passion, innovation, and collaboration are more than just words to us. These are the values that we live by, the values that drive us in believing that we can make a change. You see them reflected in our project today, and you will continue seeing them in our projects in the future. Hailing from South Africa, we are
Enactus Central University of Technology.